news and first the headlines. Economic hardship. Begin food importation, TUC tells FG. Nigeria police force seal NLC office in Lagos over planned nationwide protests. Don't say Northern Nigeria failed when you produce somebody who does not know what to do, ex-president Obasanjo. Show some understanding, cooperate with President Tinubu, Fayose tells Nigerians. Court fixes March 19 to decide Nnamdi Kanu's bail. NANS writes open letter to Tinubu, accuses Dangote of mismanaging CITN funds. On sports, Super Falcons can't afford to falter. Randy Waldron. The match is ongoing as a decider for the Olympic proper between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Lioness of Cameroon. I am Mohire Ravila Lawal. These in detail. The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has asked the federal government to begin the importation of food to mitigate the soaring prices of food across the country. This was disclosed by the President TUC Festus Osifo during a press conference on the economic hardship ravaging the country on Monday in Abuja. According to him, Nigerians have never witnessed this level of hardship before, even during military regimes, adding that the problems are not unconnected to the government's poor patronage of locally made products and services and lack of capable hands at the end of affairs. Nigerians must live to see tomorrow before we can understand how beautiful a government policy is. The national pride of striving to achieve food efficiency locally should be temporarily relaxed. Government at all levels should immediately purchase sufficient quantities of food items from parts of the world and share them with vulnerable Nigerians. The Nigeria Police Force has sealed the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC office in Lagos State to prevent the planned nationwide protests against hunger and hardship. The protest scheduled by the NLC for February 27 and 28 aimed to address the economic challenges facing Nigerians. Activist and National Coordinator of the Education Rights Campaign, ERC, Hassan Taiwo, shared an image on Monday morning showing armed police personnel stationed in front of NLC headquarters in the Yaba area of Lagos State. According to Taiwo, a full comrades were sealed up in the building, uncertain about the developments awaiting them. The NLC issued a 14-day ultimatum to the Nigerian government regarding widespread hardship leading to organizing the protest. However, the Department of State Services DSS and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi-San urged NLC to cancel the protest. Despite warnings from the government and concerns from other quarters, the NLC insisted that the protest would proceed as planned. It accused the government of preparing to attack peaceful rallies and alleged the involvement of certain groups in causing violence against protesters. Moving on to the next story, former Nigerian President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo identified low citizen productivity and poor resource management as the main causes of the country's persistent economic problems. During the book launch of Cost and Politics by Dr. Umar Ado, Obasanjo stressed the importance of giving state and local government more authority and funding from the federal government. He contended that doing so would improve resource management and lessen national competition. Dr. Umar, the author of the book and former governorship candidate of the Socio-Democratic Party (PDP) SDP, in Adamawa State, shared insight into political dynamics. Meanwhile, Professor Ango Abdullahi, advocating for a return to the parliamentary system, criticized the failure of presidential system. However, Obasanjo disagreed, stressing the need for a change in attitude and political culture rather than a systematic overhaul. Obasanjo stands on his calls broader discussion on Nigeria's governance structure and economic viability. While calls for a return to the parliamentary system gain traction, Obasanjo's emphasis on addressing core issues like productivity and resource management suggests a nuanced approach to Nigeria's challenges, urging the fundamental shift in societal attitude and political practices. Moving on to the next story. A former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has called on Nigerians to be patient with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, despite the economic hardship in the country. Since the removal of fuel subsidy last year, the cost of living has spiraled, leading to a breakout of protests in some parts of Nigeria. But Fayose, a guest on the program, show some understanding and urge Nigerians to show detailed understanding and be patient with the government. And to story of Nnamdi Kanu. Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has fixed March 19, 2024 for a ruling in the application by the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, seeking to be admitted to bail in the terrorism charges filed against him by the federal government. Justice Nyako fixed the date on Monday after taking argument from Kanu's new counsel, Aloy Ejimako, for bail for his client and Chief Adegboyega Awomolu San, who stood for the federal government and objected to granting the bail to the IPOB leader. While the San representing the federal government, Chief Adegboyega, took over the case from David Kaswe San from the Federal Ministry of Justice in Abuja for the prosecution. Kanu also engaged a new team of lawyers led by Pam Ejiofor and Aloy Ejimako, who took over the case from Chief Mike Ozekome San and Ifeanyi Ejiofor without adducing any reason for the change. Kanu predicated his request for bail mainly on the fact that he may not be able to put up the good defense unless admitted to bail to enable him have unfettered access to his lawyers. He also claimed to be suffering from acute hypertension and acute heart disease, among other diseases. The federal government, through its counsel, however, objected to Kanu's request for bail on the ground that Kanu was once granted bail but jumped and fled out of the country. Moving to the next story. The National Association of Nigerian Student NANS has written an open letter to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the mismanagement of the Cement Technology Institute of Nigeria under the leadership of Aliko Dangote. We, the National Association of Nigerian Students, being the voice and representative of Nigerian students, a large percent of youth constituency of our population, and by extension, defender of oppressed citizens and advocate of Nigerian masses, the bearers of our nation's future and voice of the voiceless young generation. Today, we are raising our voices in protest. We are writing to you to express our deep concern and outrage regarding the management and lack of accountability within the Cement Technology Institute of Nigeria, an organization under Aliko Dangote's leadership as pioneer and self-imposed life chairman. The alleged misuse, diversion, and misappropriation of sub-strategic fund intended to provide training and development opportunities for Nigerian youth in the system industry in line with the establishment goal of CTIN in a worthy one, in fact, its future-threatening act and an act of economic sabotage. Certainly, the fund has been squandered, leaving a trail of broken promises and shattered dreams, as nothing can be pointed as an achievement in this regard. You are watching the world news from BGI television. Next to come. Military and police authorities have rescued 16 kidnapped victims in Kogi State following a joint operation. The Kogi State Police Command spokesman William Oye Aya said 11 of the victims were abducted from a Peace Mass Transit PMC bus. Consequent upon the kidnap of 11 passengers from a Peace Mass Transit bus and 5 others from a Sienna bus along Ete Enugu Ezekiel Road to the bush on the 25th February 2024, the joint Kogi police and military team from Enugu State promptly swung into action and trailed and rescued all victims from the bush unearthed. Efforts are ongoing to apprehend the suspect and bring them to deserved justice. Following the rescue, the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Bertram Onoa, has praised the team for the feat. He is assuring of command's resolve to continue to fight against criminals. The police commissioner is, however, calling on residents of Kogi State to work with security agencies to ensure the safety of lives and properties. Moving on to the next story. 2 wanted armed bandit leaders, Baldo and Babanyara, and scores of their foot soldiers have been eliminated by the military. The warlords were said to be behind the coordination of movement and exchange of kidnapped victims within camps in Zamfara and Katsina state axis. A defense intelligence source confirmed that the terrorists were killed on Saturday in a deadly military operation along the Zamfara-Katsina axis. Our troops engaged the terrorists at Nero West axis and succeeded in killing the 2 bandit kingpins and 28 of the foot soldiers. Lately, our troops have intensified their aggression and aggressive operation in the northwest and are pounding terrorists heavily. We want to rid the region of criminal elements so that farmers can carry out their agricultural activities without delay, said a military intelligence operative. Meanwhile, a local source embedded with the troops as a security volunteer said the operation was swift, as no terrorists sighted were spread. From that story to the foreign. Mohammed Shetia, Palestinian Prime Minister, announced that he would resign to facilitate the information of a broad consensus among Palestinians regarding political arrangement following Israel's war against the Islamic group Hamas in Gaza on Monday. This is amid increasing pressure from the United States on President Mahmoud Abbas to overhaul the Palestinian Authority as international efforts have intensified to halt the fighting in Gaza and initiate work on political framework to govern the enclave war zone. Palestinian Prime Minister resigns. Here is why he needs to resign, accepted by Abbas, who may request him to continue as a caretaker until a permanent replacement is designated. In a statement to the cabinet, Shetia, an academic economist who assumed office in 2019, stated that the subsequent stage would need to consider the emerging reality in Gaza, which has been devastated by nearly 5 months of intense fighting, according to Reuters. He mentioned that the next phase would necessitate new governmental and political arrangements that take into account the emerging reality in Gaza Strip, the national unity talks, and the urgent need for an inter-Palestinian consensus. Additionally, it would require the extension of the authority over the entire land, Palestine. And finally, sports. The first leg on Friday in Douala ended goalless, and both sides will lock arms at the Moshood Abiola Stadium, which is ongoing. Speaking ahead of the tie, Wadrum said that we played a good game in Douala and we are confident of our chances to get the ticket in Abuja. We wish the Super Falcons all the best. It was never going to be easy, having only a few days together with the girls, but we'll make best of our opportunities that we can create at home on ground today, the American said. The overall winners from the tie will face either South Africa or Tanzania in the final round. South Africa edged Tanzania 3-0 in their first leg of their own encounter, wishing the Super Falcons a victorious outing. With our sports story, we've come to the end of today's World News. Before we go, some headlines. Economic hardship. Begin food importation, TUC tells FG. Nigeria police force seal NLC office in Lagos over planned nationwide protest. Don't say Northern Nigeria failed when you produce somebody who does not know what to do. Ex-President Obasanjo. Show some understanding, cooperate with President Bola Tinubu, Fayoshe tells Nigerians. On sport, we brought to you Super Falcons can't afford to falter, Wardrobe. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Bandit Imo Television. You can subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bandit Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. Thank you for watching. I am Mori Rabila Lawan.